Hi, I'm Dennis from Plain Truth Ministry. Welcome to Friday in the Word. Today I want to look at a passage from 2 Timothy where Paul is instructing Timothy as he does throughout the letter. The passage comes from chapter 2, verses 15 and 16, and the text reads, "Be diligent to present yourself approved to God, a worker who does not need to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. But shun profane and idle babblings, for they will increase to more ungodliness." Here's what Paul's telling Timothy and ultimately telling us in this passage. Be diligent to present yourself approved to God. Live the gospel that you have been taught and accepted. Plain and simple. You need to be able to show others through yourself that you believe this gospel that you are speaking about. You need to let others know how you came to believe that gospel and why that you know that is truth. That's our job when we get into conversations or when we start to talk to people about the gospel. We need to be able to say that we came we need to be able to give our testimony that we came to God in a certain way. We were taught the gospel. We believed and accepted the gospel as truth, and we are now living out that gospel. There's nothing in what we are going to say that we need to be ashamed of, and we need to be able to articulate that message to others in hopes that they will accept God in the same way that we have and will believe the truth of the gospel as we are telling them. What we don't need to do is to escalate that conversation, because there will be times if we're speaking to someone who's not ready to accept that gospel that they may ask uh, questions, and questions are okay as long as we're able to give them answers that they can accept. But when they choose not to accept those answers, not to accept what it is that we are trying to tell them, then an argument may ensue. And that's not where we want to be. As Paul says, shun profane and idle babblings, for they will increase to more ungodliness. Don't get caught in the trap of somebody who just wants to argue. You can tell the difference between somebody who doesn't understand what you're saying and wants clarity, and someone who wants to dispute what you're saying and wants to argue. Stay away from the latter. There's no value in that. There's no value in escalating that conversation, because emotions will take over and that person will yell and scream and call you names at some point, and that's a trap that they want you to fall into. Don't fall into that trap. You have the firm truth propping your argument up. You don't need more than that. You don't need to add to that. You don't need to defend that truth. It is the truth. Paul got a front row seat of how to do this prior to his conversion. The Jews had captured the apostle Stephen, and just prior to his death, almost the uh, entirety of Acts chapter 7, Stephen explained the gospel, explained what he believed and why he believed it and why it was true. In the end, with Paul consenting, Stephen was stoned, but he didn't escalate. Those who stoned him escalated because they chose not to believe. Paul's letter to the Galatians is the same idea. Paul used that knowledge that he learned to be able to articulate the gospel, but not to escalate. And that's where we need to be. I hope you'll think about this and have a great day. God bless.